Self-defense myths tape. People carrying improvised weapons. So they go, well, if something happens to me, I've got a magazine always in my handbag. I'll just roll it up, whack them across the nose, or I've got a deodorant spray or hairspray or something like that. I'll just get them in the eyes. The problem with this, there's several problems. One is that the time it takes you to get the magazine, to roll it up, to then bring it out and hit me across the face, I'll have already reacted. So if we're already at a point where the conversation is turned, where my body language is telling you that I'm about to attack you, as soon as I see you reach into your bag, I'm going to grab your forearm and stop you, because I know you're going to be going for a weapon of some kind. So if you're against somebody who's a complete moron, who doesn't pay attention to you when they're trying to attack you, it could work. If you walk around with the rolled up magazine in your hand, brandishing it like a weapon anyway, it might work. Chances are it's not going to work. Same thing with a spray. In the time it takes you to reach into whatever pocket or whatever bag you've got that spray, take the cap off or twist the top, make sure it's pointing in the right direction, so then bring it out, point it in someone's face and spray them. Before you can do all of that, they'll have been on you, they'll have already attacked you. The other problem with weapons of this sort is it gives you a false sense of security, because rather than thinking I'm going to avoid this, rather than thinking everything, my senses are telling me to not go down this road, take another way, or don't go past those people. What happens is we get to a point where we go, I've got a weapon, I'm going to walk down here. I'm safe because I've got this weapon. It's very, very similar to, I've seen door staff, when there's been one of them by themselves, they've been very polite to everybody, they've been very courteous, they've barely made eye contact with anybody, they don't really want you to know they're there. When they're backed by another 5 guys, they've been incredibly rude, very, very unprofessional, because they can get away with being rude to you, because if you do decide to kick off, they're backed up by their mates, they don't really fear it too much. So it's the same thing when you've got something that you think is going to work well as a weapon. Because you've got that weapon with you, you're more likely to allow yourself to get drawn into confrontation, into situations that otherwise you would have avoided. So, whereas if you were completely unarmed, you would do your best to talk the guy down and get away, escape as soon as possible, avoid if we can see the danger. Now, all of a sudden, because you've got this weapon, you think, no, I don't need to run away. I know I can, if something happens here, I've got it. But a lot of weapons training that I've seen done always starts off with the weapon is drawn. What I'd like you to do in your classes, can be in your classes, can be at home, can be with a group of friends, whatever. I just want you to run through this experiment. You can actually do this experiment by yourself. All you need is a stopwatch. Most mobile phones will have a stopwatch. Use them. Get a magazine or a spray or whatever, put it in a bag, whether it be a handbag, a backpack, in your pocket, whatever. Time how long it takes you to access the weapon, get it to a point where it's deployable, and actually launch it or spray it. Then I want you to take a 1.5 step back, time how long it takes you to step forward. You'll find that the second one of just stepping forward is a lot less time than it takes you to actually use the weapon. So when you're confronted with somebody and you go to get the weapon, they're going to be on you before you can get the weapon. Therefore, you've missed your chance of getting with a preemptive strike because you've been too dependent on the weapon. So one of the big self-defense myths is the improvised weapons and those sorts. Some improvised weapons do work. That's for another video. So try it in your own club if you can. But improvised weapons of the magazines and the sprays and all this, they don't work, and they're better off left behind.